Since this has been requested a lot, and by a lot I mean by one man who is in fact free Antares, I decided to do it just for him, and here we are, back on the PU land. And by the way, if you are unfamiliar with PU, you might want to read a short story of how it was created in the description. Also, whenever you are asked what is PU, save yourself the trouble of explaining it and feel free to copy-paste it. That should be enough of an answer. Now, although we are on well-known territory, the team I'm using doesn't look familiar, mainly because it isn't even a team. I've recently saved about 40 new PU pokes and was keen to give them a try, so I picked 6 out of them that looked like they might work together and put them to the test. My today's opponent goes by the name of 97pedrocas, and after getting swept by Mawile, he realized that Little Cup team doesn't work quite as well in PU, so this time on his side there is a selection of most common PU pokes, including some massive threats as well as reliable walls. So how did these radical changes on opposing side influence the battle? Let's find out. I lead off with Krtek, which is the main character of a great Czech cartoon that I used to watch as a kid. Ah, memories. I was predicting his Leiron to be a stealth rock lead, but as you can see by his HP number, he is more offensive build, so Stab Life Orb Earthquake turns out to be a clean one-hit KO, so that's a Leiron taken down by a Drill Bore on the turn 1. Not a bad start if you ask me. In comes X-Cloud, and just by the way he has thrown it in, I'm almost certain that he is scarfed. Thing is, I know that it can be physical just as well as special attacker, mainly because I have both of these variants in my PU boxes and I don't want to risk switching to inappropriate wall and taking a lot of damage. That is why I decided just to stay in, although it means no stealth rocks for me this time, but on his team only Golbat is weak to them and with access to Roost it won't be really crippled. He turns out to be special attacker and takes me out with a hyper voice, so then I go to Big Bill. High five if you played the game named The Neverhood and get the reference. This particular build is specially defensive and the first 5 turns upon switching in it works as a supporter, cripples the opposing Pokemon with Parafusion, knocks off their items, and after 5 turns all of the sudden it turns out to be a threatening attacker, because even without any investment and neutral nature, Regigigas hits whopping 356 attack, well above the PU average. Seeing my idea, he abandons his plan of toxic stalling me, U-turns to Lithium and roars me out of there. My Lilip gets dragged out and this one is running free attack set with Storm Drain instead of Suction Caps, but not knowing about that, he decides just to toxic me as I go for a hidden power as it turns out rock rather than fire as I thought. Unfortunately for him, Toxic misses and I don't give him a chance to try it again and switch straight to my physically defensive Skorupi to absorb it. Now my plan of winning this game involving an ace up my sleeve, Coil restocking Electrike highly relies on Toxic Spikes, because with their help I can stall out his Raichu, which would otherwise utterly wall it. So I set up one layer as he goes back to Golbat, and then bring the MVP of this game, Duracell, to take an obvious Brave Bird. He gets fully paralyzed on my switch, which didn't matter at all, because assuming that he was the most common defensive set, Brave Bird will do a pathetic amount anyway. Then I double switch back to Regigigas, predicting either his Raichu or X-Cloud, but he decides to make a safer play and goes to Leafeon, either to Toxic or roar me out again. Using the fact that I can't T-Wave him because of my own Toxic Spikes, he goes for a Heal Bell, but it's completely useless because he goes back to Golbat only to be T-Waved again. I'm telling you, so far every time I use this Regigigas it has given my opponent big problems. Ask House of Wolves if you don't believe me. This time is no different, Parafusion works like a charm, and even if my attack half, return still does a respectable amount. Big Bill, doing his job, and doing it well. So Golbat bites the dust not doing absolutely anything, and then he goes back to X-Cloud to scare me off with a Focus Blast, but nah, I'm specially defensive, I'm not going anywhere. It looks like after leftovers it might not even be a 2-hit KO, but I don't wanna risk it knowing that I might need Regigigas for his Raichu, so I switch to my Skorupi, sponge another one with ease, and this is when regular poison actually works out in my favor, because unlike Toxic, it is enough to finish him off on this turn. Now he brings his Dragonair and without setting up goes straight for an Outrage, but Skorupi takes it like a beast and knocks off his Life Orb, which is a bit surprising to see on a Dragonair, and it tells me that he is probably running an all-out attacking set without rest. Regardless, I decide just to stay in, set up another layer of Toxic Spikes and let him take me out, because now I can just bring my Electrike and pretty much win from there. Before that, however, I want to give my Barrett sniper rifle a try, but me being an idiot have put a life orb instead of a razor claw on this thing, so there is no sniping this time, but Remoraid still gets a kill on a Lithion. I guess he wasn't expecting me to be a special attacker and he had a 50% chance of getting it right, because I do have a physical hustle set as well, but I left it for other occasion. Now in comes Raichu, and if ever, this is the best opportunity to bring my Duracell and proceed to set up. He makes a smart play and volt switches out, but I take outrageous from his Dragonair just well enough to set up 2 coils, rest off all of the damage, and although he surprises me revealing that he's a mixed set with Draco Meteor, it does nowhere enough to put the pressure on me. I take him out with 2 sparks, and if you wonder why am I using spark, right there is your answer. 30% paralysis chance and no recoil is certainly nice on a defensive set, making it a better option than Wild Charge in my opinion. But anyway, Raichu, like Dragonair, turns out to be quite interesting mixed set with Volt Tackle, but seeing that his efforts are in vain, he decides to make the battle a few turns shorter by forfeiting, so that is the game. Good game, Pedro. You put up a much better fight than the last time, but the one thing that I learned playing PU, unlike all the others, this is one tier where surprise factor is very significant. No matter how good your team is, it won't be much of a help if you don't know what to expect from the opposing Pokemon. But I hope you all enjoyed, in which case do your thing, and as always, I see all of you next time.